The last hop across the pond has been made, and we go to what is one of the greatest and certainly one of the most historic racing circuits in motorsport history. Welcome to Silverstone and to Friday Night Primetime here on RaceSpotTV, on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, wherever you happen to be joining us from here tonight. This circuit has gone under many major changes since its first races in 1948, and this particular configuration has been raced since 2011, and all throughout history and the past decade, this track has seen dozens upon dozens of fantastic races, especially in the multi-class community. And here in the penultimate race in the Irish IMSA Sportscar Championship, we're expecting another thrilling 45 minutes of racing just ahead of us. I'm Nolan Rempel. Joining me in the booth today is Ryan Walker with Connor Maddock, the VCO nominated Connor A. Maddock, behind the cameras for today. Ryan, my goodness me, this is one of the most famous tracks we've ever gone to, save of course for Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What are your thoughts coming into this one?
Yeah, it's a fantastic track, Silverstone, and then yeah, I'm expecting a great race this evening, a close race even, and if anything's to go by Indianapolis last week, I think we should be in for an absolute stomper, and I think the LMP2 class could be one to keep an eye on.
Especially, since you bring up the LMP2 class, there is a couple big names running in today's race. You got, of course, Casey Kerwin, a Coca-Cola NASCAR driver running in the field. He's been running really all season. He's never been up and down season, but I mean, I guess that can be to expected. You got Johan Hart as well, running in the mix of things as well. One of the Porsche Esports Super Cup racers, and don't forget, a Thrustmaster Rallycross world champion as well in the mix of things. And don't forget as well, there is one more driver. Just trying to find him on my timing charts here, but we do have, like I said, some very, very big names in the field here today. And that is Boudaloop that is running in the other LMP2 machine here. Right, he's currently on the track as well. He's also running in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. So we're in for a really big treat tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Some big names out there as well, not just in LMP2, but we've got the GTLM as well, Gianni Vecchio as well, and yeah, it's good to see some of these big names out tonight, and I think it should be a great race to watch, as we're in the middle of qualifying at the moment, and on your screen now we've got Vecchio right there, and yeah, always been a quick driver in Porsche equipment, and I think tonight should be no exception if he keeps his nose clean.
Just riding on board with Vecchio as he throws his way through the Maggots and Beckett's complex. This is definitely one of the more tricky corner complexes you can find in the world of racing. It's one of those situations where every corner is different and you have to approach each one a certain way. Now, bombing it down the Hangar Straight, the longest straight on the racing circuit, up towards the fearsome Stowe. Just a little dab on the brakes before you have to let momentum really carry the car through the corner. Swing it out wide. Be very careful though not to get that good old off-track 1X down the Vale Hill before diving it down for the club chicane.
Yep, as Gianni comes into the final couple of corners now, he's just got his basically double right-hander, you could say, just to go, and he's across the line now. He's just about to come across the line, and it's a 153.2, which puts him in P2 in class.
Quarter of a second behind Yuri Kasdorp, the current leader in the GTLM category for today. Kasdorp has already finished his qualifying runs. Let's take a look now at Johan Hart, who just finished his qualifying. He's going to put himself on the pole position here, just under a tenth ahead of Julian Silnan in the number 12 machine. So not really a big surprise that Johan Hart, the Porsche Esports Super Cup driver, is up there on the pole today. Johan Hart is one of those multi-talented drivers who drives in two world championships right now. Matthew Stagg is another driver that we're keeping an eye on. He's also had a pretty good season, all things considered. He's frequently qualified up near the front, and it seems to be no different for him today. Right now, in GTD, he is on pole out of the 10 or so cars that have set times in your GTD category today.
Yeah, Stagg's had, like you say, he's had a pretty good season, and at the moment he's on pole position. And last week as well at Indianapolis, he took the win in the GTD class, so he's having a good finish to the season, and hopefully can basically add another one to his form.
Yeah, definitely hoping to maybe expand on his little on his little resume here, Matthew Stagg. This is definitely would be good for him to get another win here today. He's right now just about a 10th up on Mark Fletcher, who's right now the second place driver in qualifying. He's just 1,000th of a second up ahead of Luca Vincoletto. So it's a very, very tight field today, it would seem. In all the classes, really, GTLM definitely the most spread out of the bunch so far. It's less than a 10th separated Johan Hart and Julian Sonnen for the first, second positions in LMP2. Matthew Stagg, does he improve? He does by some margin. 158.358, which is going to put himself now 3/10 up on Mark Fletcher.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Stagg's pretty much got the job done in qualifying, and 3/10 of a second ahead of the next car behind him, which is Mark Fletcher in second. It's just absolutely incredible. It's one of those tracks, if you nail a lap around here, it's a rewarding track.
Rewarding track indeed. It's one of those tracks that you really need to carry the rhythm in. It's hard to get a fast lap in here, but when you do get a fast lap, my goodness, you know it the second you've been fast here, and you know exactly how good that feels. Anybody that's gotten a perfect lap around this place. Let's take a look at the starting results for today's race from qualifying. In LMP2, it's going to be Johan Hart to start things off on pole position. The Frenchman taking things on the pole. Julian Sonnen in second place. Valentin Mandernash in third. Jeremy Boutelo in fourth. Marcus Deck in fifth. Efgond Berkier in sixth. Ika Hapala in seventh. Daniel Kraft eighth. Andre Carrera Martins in ninth. Case Kerwin rounding out the top 10. Kerwin's got quite a bit of work to do today, it would seem. Pierre Verne in 11th. And Jake Feinerman in the 12th position. Moving down into GTLM, Yuri Kastorp finishes it off on the pole position there. Gianni Vecchio in the second place. Patrick Heinrich in third. Job Delicht in fourth. Tammy Accioli in fifth. Alexei Nesov in sixth. Quentin Violate in seventh. And it's going to be Spencer Kostewicz to round in the top 20 overall and the top 8 in the GTLM category. Victor Veloso in ninth. Bruno Fontalba in 10th, Artem Grabau in 11th, Laurent Miskowitz in 12th, Tristan Iglesias in 13th, and Nathan Parkinson rounding out the 14-car GTLM field. No time set for Parkinson, the Englishman here today. Matthew Stagg in first then for GTD, Fletcher second in his Audi machinery, Luca Vincoletto in third, Ryan Norbert fourth, Braden Werner fifth, Gil Valero in the sixth position, Blake Neck in 7th. He's got a big name for himself in the sim racing community, especially in the GT categories. Kyle Dunlop in 8th, Antonin Titus in 9th. Valentin Pai rounded out the top 10. Nicholas Pijner and Jeremy Granger rounding out a 12-car GTD field. So 12 cars in LMP2 and GTD, 14 in GTLM. Very, very big fields then here today.
Yeah, absolutely a big field in every class, and I think the race is going to be really close, and I think the keys to the race are going to be patience, just being careful and making sure if you go for a move, make sure to do it safely, as the pace lap is underway, and it's not a long pace lap, it's a short one. We've only got the final few corners to get ready, and these drivers, I think, are pretty much pumped up for this race.
To be in the hands then of Johan Hart, who's going to be set to lead the field to the green out of the club chicane for 45 minutes. He's already on the loud pedal into that chicane. The green flag is waving at start finishes. He's got a great jump on the LMP2 field. We are racing here at Silverstone in England for the final time this season. Of course, penultimate time in the IMSA, final time in the British country, and it's going to be GTLM now to cross the line, and they're thunder up towards the Abbey corner. Big block for position behind as Bruno Fontalba tries to go around the outside of Artem Grabau. Doesn't quite round from GTD, meanwhile, spinning in the background as they crash coming to the start of the finish line.
Yeah, unbelievable. They've not even got across the start-finish line, and there's several drivers in GTD having issues, and what's with the rejoin, Nicholas? And yeah, maybe some drivers being caught out, as it looks like one of the P2 drivers, Daniel Kraft, had an issue as well.
It was actually started all the way back in the club chicane that this happened. It was probably about 7 or 8 cars that actually got damaged with this. Let's take a look at the replay down at the club chicane for the over. This will show right here. Watch, there's one of the Audis that gets punted around there. I think that was the pole sitter, actually. And then everybody else just scrambles to avoid this coming back onto the track. Everyone's checking out. They go 4 wide for a brief moment, then 3 into the last corner, and then, well, shades of Kevin Magnussen in the British Grand Prix. He gets sent off. Brian Werner actually got spun around as well in turn 2 in the midst of all of this as well. So it's just complete calamity right now in GTD. The spin for the 5th place driver actually got caught up in turn 2 just after this mess took place. My goodness me. I mean, this is not how we wanted this race to start off.
Absolutely not, and yeah, it was unfortunate Matthew Stagg got tagged around by 2nd place starter Mark Fletcher, and it just looked like it was a bit of a concertina effect or a bottleneck, if you like, and apart from that, it looks like everyone's been relatively clean.
So the GTD field is, I think, broken up, to say the very least. So let's take a look up front to GTLM, and we will see if we can pick up some of the battles taking place further up in the field. GTD getting a bit of a head start on screen time than the rest of the field, it would seem. Battle on for the race lead. Vecchio trying to find a way past Yuri Castor.
Yeah, Gianni's absolutely on it at the moment, and these two are slowly pulling away from the pack behind, pulling away from 3rd place behind Patra Heinrich. Yeah, Gianni, like I say, he's always been cool. It looks like is Gianni Vecchio yeah, actually he's back. Oh, I wasn't sure if he disconnected or not, but yeah, he's putting the pressure on the leader Yuri Kastorp at the moment.
I want to point out as well that usually the GTLM field is usually dominated by BMWs and or Corvettes. This time it is literally all Porsches. So it seems like the Porsche 911 RSR is definitely the way to go in GTLM. 3rd place looks to be under fire is Jeremy Bodolo. Remember, the World Championship driver trying to find a way around Julian Sonnen. Was dropped back from 2nd to 3rd off of the race start, and Mandernash has moved up from 3rd to 2nd in the LMP2 field. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here, and if Boudreau can close the gap in down the hangar straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy Boudreau, one of the quickest drivers in iRacing, and yeah, I'm quite surprised he's back down in 4th. I thought he would be right up there on the front row, but yeah, this like see the LMP2 class is really close, and Boudreau is at the moment just trying to find a way to get by 3rd place man Julian Soderud at the moment.
You got to remember as well that Johan Hart is one of those drivers that only really appears for a few races in a season, and he was saying at Le Mans when he came in and talked to us that he was definitely going to want to come in and give Silverstone a run for its money. So that seems like what Johan Hart has wanted to do here today. Hart number 1 in the LMP2 category at the 24 Hours of Le Mans circuit just 2 weeks ago. So he is definitely trying to have a good run here and take home a 2nd victory here today. So in the LMP2 category, it is still a hornet's nest of Dallara P217s as we take a ride on board with Jeremy Bodolo as he continues to try to close in the gap up front to Julian Sonnen.
Yeah, he can't really do anything at the moment. It just seems to be that all these drivers are evenly matched, and they, like we were talking about at the start of the broadcast, Nolan, these cars don't really have much not a lot of downforce anyway, so pretty much it's trying to make a move is sometimes difficult.
There are other battles on the track as well. Among them is actually the GTD battle for the race lead. Mark Fletcher has lost some ground in the number 22 machine to Ryan Norbert, who was all over the back end. So the 2 Audis see me to go at it here in the GTD battle for the race lead. Remember, the entire GTD field is pretty much split up all the way throughout the field. So Norbert here, the fact that he's able to run down Mark Fletcher is really quite impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if Mark might have some damage possibly from that little incident at the start with Matthew Stagg, but he's doing a good job to hold on to the lead. But it seems at the moment Norbert just seems to be the quicker driver.
So it's the 2 Audis right now duking it out for the race lead. 2 Mercedes going at it for first, second behind it, but this is definitely the closer fight here. Fletcher is really losing time to Ray and Norbert in a hurry. Norbert, I don't think he's going to be able to have a run around here into the cops corner as they exit left field and go through Woodco. Now, I think he might have to try to get a good run out of the Chapel curve down into the hangar straight in the run to Stowe. He's not going to be close enough to really make the move because, as we all know, in GT3 racing, going side by side to Max and Beckes in these GT3 cars, 10 out of 10 times, it ends in disaster for at least one person.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as we're heading up to the Maggots and Beckett section now, and yeah, it's pretty much one of those sections that you can't really make a move, but it's also a section that these GT GTD and GTLM drivers will have to be careful with being lapped by P2 cars. So, yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that as well.
So now the hands are all in the draft as Rand Norbert tries to run down Mark Fletcher. Can he get the move done, though? He's closing up to Stowe, but not close enough to make the dive bomb. The draft can be quite powerful in these cars, but not as powerful, I guess, as Rand Norbert necessarily wanted. Down the hill now into Club, and still Mark Fletcher leads lap number 3 in the GTD category.
Yep, doing a good job at the moment as Mark, and yeah, he's probably one of the quickest. Well, not one of the quickest, but he's a quick driver in GT3 racing for sure. Also, he takes part in the Ivor leagues, and he's been doing a good job there in that league so far this season with teammate Ashley Beard. So yeah, the experience here seems to be paying off for Mark at the moment.
At the moment, this is one of the closest battles we actually have on track. Of course, we probably would have some closer ones within GTD as well, but remember, there was that massive, well, not even turn 1 incident in GTD. It was pre-start finish incident in the GTD category that saw a good majority of the field actually completely cleaned out. Big dive from Norbert to try to cut him off, but Mark Fletcher covers the inside line and keeps Norbert behind him.
Yeah, it looks like Norbert's starting to get a little bit frustrated now. He knows he's quicker, but he just can't really do anything about Mark Fletcher. He can't get by him. And I'll say it again, Fletcher's doing a good job of defending and keeping Norbert behind, but for how long, who knows?
At this point in time, Fletcher's just got to hope that the dirty air can play into a big factor here in the faster corners through Kopp's, Maggots, and of course Beckett's as well. And you saw he actually gained a little bit of time through Kopp's, but if Norbert could get the good run up here, which Norbert seems to be better in the slower corners, this could really hamper Mark Fletcher here, because this is definitely the best passing zone up here into Stowe and down to the Club. Those are the two best passing zones really on the track. So Norbert's got to get a good run off of the Chapel Curve if he's going to have any hope of getting past him into Stowe. Because if you don't get him in Stowe, you're most likely not going to be able to get him for Club either.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I'm wondering if Fletcher's maybe using less downforce for the straights, and maybe the Norbert's using a bit more downforce for the high-speed corners. So it's pretty interesting. He doesn't seem to be able to keep up in a straight line.
It's definitely one of those interesting things, isn't it, where you see the different settings of the cars. This is one of those tracks where you can really kind of set up the car either way. You can set it up for the long straights with lower downforce, or you can set it up for the more high-speed corners. Another battle that's close is the GTLM race leaders. Gianni Vezio still has not been able to find a way past Yuri Kasdorp in their little battle. So once again, the Porsche class is definitely reigning supreme right now on the racetrack in GTLM. It's literally only a Porsche. I've gone to the field so many times, cannot see a single machine in there that is not a Porsche 911 RSR right now in GTLM.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised by that, but on the other hand, the Porsche, especially around this track, seems to be the car to have. Maybe just the characteristics of the car with it being rear engine on corner exit, that rear engine seems to help with traction.
It really does kind of show you just how unique each track can be and how the different tracks can work with when it comes to setting up a car. You've got to make sure that you set the car, but you pick the right car, because there's some cars, like for example the Ferrari 48 GT is known for being pretty good in the corners, but just terrible in overall straight line pace. It's kind of the same way here. This track has just got so many different elements to it that you just got to make sure you pick your car correctly. It seems like Porsche, well, we don't actually know if it's the right choice or not for the track, because it's the only car we've ever run out there. So I guess by default, that means, yeah, it was the right choice.
Yeah, absolutely. As Kastorp's still under pressure from Vecchio. And these two still are holding a good gap to the rest of the pack in third place, man. Patrick Heinrich is looking back in the GTD class and looking at the battle for the lead, and Mark Fletcher is still under attack from Rand Norbert. And I have to say, I'm surprised that Fletcher hasn't cracked under the pressure, but from my experience of watching him in other leagues, I'm not so surprised.
Yeah, not terribly surprised here either. But I mean, look at how evenly matched these two drivers are. I mean, Norbert and Fletcher, they've just been pretty much matching lap times. They've only ever been a couple tenths off each and every lap, and that's what allowed them to stay so close. Norbert's trying to go for the switchback here. in Village. That doesn't work out. Trying to cut back now for the loops. At this point in time, Norbert's actually, he's clearly better in the slower corners, so he's just trying to get the over-under on him in these slower corners, so that way he can be alongside when we get around to the faster corners and force Fletcher out of line and maybe force him into a bit of a mistake. So right now, though, Norbert has got to use these first and second sectors to his advantage, because that is where he's strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Norbert's getting more and more frustrated now. He knows he's quicker than Fletcher, but again, it's just trying to get the run, trying to get the move done, and can't really do anything at the moment. But on the other hand, he might not. It's not a bad thing to sit behind. He could do. He could possibly do some fuel saving.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. You got to keep in mind as well. There is a bit of an interesting one here going on. This is for the LMP2 race lead. They've caught lap traffic. Handenash is in the race lead right now for LMP2. Johan Hart has fallen back out of the race lead, so the battle is certainly on for LMP2s as the champion, as the Porsche Esports Super Cup driver and Rallycross driver. Johan Hart has dropped out of the race lead in favor of Valentin Mandernash. So a bit of an interesting one there. They're just passing by the GTD battle for the race lead. Mark Fletcher's having to go in defensive back there as well. This is all sorts of hairy now as third place dives it up as well through the midst of all of this. As it is just chaos reigns supreme right now all over the racetrack here, especially around LMP2 and GTD. We're trying to just figure out where Johan Hart exactly lost the race lead. So this is where Johan Hart lost the race lead. And was this a slowdown? I think this was a slowdown penalty. As we're hearing from our producer, it does appear that was the case. He did get a slowdown penalty right there. You see that he's slowing up. That's what allowed Handenash through to the race lead. So all of a sudden, Johan Hart's got to get a jump on it because that massive lead he got at the start, well, it's not really there anymore, is it?
Yeah, it's what the Maggots and Beckett section is one of those that you want to try and carry as much speed and try and cut as much as some of the corners as possible. But doing that around Silverstone, especially in that section, if you cut it too much, you get a slowdown. And unfortunately, Johan Hart found that out.
GTD battle for the race lead, by the way, has been split up. That's why we're keeping an eye on this one, because of all the LMP2 traffic darting their way through. Those two Audis have been completely separated right now. So we're going to keep our eyes here on this LMP2 fight to see if Johan Hart can maybe reel in the gap here up to the LMP2 race leader. I mean, that's one of the casualties, of course, in multi-class racing, of course. You know, you get these great battles that tend to get split up. But I mean, hey, that is just a side effect of it.
Yeah, just what rider on board with Johan Hart at the moment, and yeah, he needs to get back on it if he wants to stay in touch with the leader. And yeah, I think Johan will be feeling slightly frustrated after that, because it's an easy thing to do around this track if you want to take as much curve as possible. But unfortunately, take too much, you get a slowdown penalty, and that can hurt you big time around here. But it doesn't seem to have hurt Johan too much.
It is just so inviting to take more and more of the curbs, and that's why you see all those orange sausage curbs and anti-cut curbs on the inside of these corners, is because the race, obviously the people that make this racetrack and design it in real life, they know how inviting it is to take those curves. So the measures are there to try to prevent those from taking place. Obviously, here in the virtual world, it is not always the case. You kind of have to sometimes, that's where you get those slowdown penalties coming from. So it's just a massive shame then for Johan Hart that this had to happen. He's just got to hope now that he can have a good run here and maybe get himself back up to the front.
Yep, absolutely. As yeah, top three are still close together, and just hanging there in the background as well is Jeremy Bootlip, and Valentin takes a lot of curve there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's a slowdown, but it seems to be he might have just got away with it.
I just got away with it. The boundaries between what is just a normal off track and what is a slowdown penalty can be so fine at this circuit. So he's doing a fantastic job of making sure he's pushing that car to its absolute limits right now. GTD race battle is closed up again, though, as Mark Fletcher once again under fire from Ray and Norbert, and this just shows how quick Norbert is, because he actually fell out to over a second back from Mark Fletcher as the LMP2 field darted their way through, and he's already right back up to Fletcher's tail. So Norbert is definitely faster. He just can't find a place to get through.
Yeah, that's the thing with these GTD cars. They're so basically evenly matched. There's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no any advantages between or differences between them, and there seems to be that Fletcher, he's maybe just he's maybe just not backing off, but maybe just taking it easy, looking after his car, maybe just doing some fuel saving himself. But at the moment, Norbert's a quicker driver, and it looks like he's got a great run. He's on the slipstream. It's just a question, can he get moved on?
Norbert's looking to the outside here. Fletcher's taking the defensive line, so Norbert might have to take the less than optimal line. Norbert backs out and lets Fletcher back up to the racing line. So Norbert probably could have gone for the move, decided not to do so. So that number 30 machine might be trying to do a little bit of fuel saving here, like you mentioned earlier on, Ryan. Oh, but look at how close they get to each other in the braking zone for these corners. I mean, it's just nerve-wracking, because if he's getting closer, they're going to end up crashing each other out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I was about to bring up my next point as well. There's good being close to the driver in front of you, but if the driver in front of you checks up or maybe tries to kind of just park it on the apex, that can cause an accident. And I think that's something that Norbert needs to think about. But I think if Norbert gets by, I think he can pull away and build up a bit of a gap before the pit stops.
Continuing to keep eyes now on what is right now one of the closest battles we have on the racing surface, with your two GTD race leaders going at it back and forth in the two Audi R8 LMSs. So my goodness, it's such an interesting fight, isn't it, to watch these different battles taking place that kind of fall away as the race goes on. Meanwhile, in LMP2, this gap is closed back in. Johan Hart is trying to reel in Valentin Mendernash, and it looks like he's doing so. And have we had an incident somewhere? Potentially? Just a bit close, it would appear.
Yeah,
oh, there you have it.
Yeah, both of them go by the first GTLM car. That was a moment to what is it, basically breathe, or basically hold your breath.
Well, that's why we had the replay, was to show you that mark of driving. Johan Hart's having a go at him here. They've just caught GTD and GTLM traffic here, not GTD traffic. Hart's trying to get the over-under on him now on the exit of the loop through Aintree. He's going to get him here in the run up to Brooklands. He's just got to make this pass work. They're trying to dart them away by Artem Grabau now. Valentin Mendernash is going to have to go defensive here. Hart's going to go around the outside, going the long way around Brooklands, trying to hang on to the spot to then get the cutback for Luffield. Swinging around the 180-degree corner. Can he get the move done? Not quite. Mendernash is on the power better, and Johan Hart's going to have to try again to the next corner.
Yep. Valentin done a great job holding on to the lead there, and Johan Hart is just trying everything to try and get by him, and he's got, the both run, or Valentin runs wide ever so slightly, and might have got an off track for that as well.
Oh! Oh, he's hit him! He's actually hit him! Just drove over the gearbox of Valentin Mendernash in Baggett's and then hit him again in Beckett's. Johan Hart driving furiously now, trying to find a way through, bombing it down the hanging straight once again. A lot of Porsche traffic ahead of them. Johan Hart's going to go to the inside. He's going to go 3 wide to get around lap traffic. Hart dives it up into Stowe and gets the pass done. Mendernash trying to fight back on the exit now in the run down Vale towards Club.
Oh, that was a fantastic move by Johan, and I was amazed that never ended up in contact for a second time, but fair play to Johan. He done well to get that move done. He took the advantage of the traffic and pulled off the move into the lead, and it looks like he's slowly pulling away.
Slowly pulling away indeed, and this is something to be expected. Johan Hart was much quicker off of the line, and he's been caught with a Porsche, and the glitch has just been spun around to the number 15 Porsche 911 RSR just behind him. That is going to rub some feelings the wrong way. I think that was 4th place in GTLM that he made contact with. The Porsche just cut right across Johan Hart's nose, and surely you must see the blue flags. I mean, take a look at this on the replay here.
Yeah, I looked at the replay now, and it looks like it's so tough to call that. Johan gets by the first GTLM car, and yeah, that's all on Johan. I'm afraid. I don't like to apportion blame, but Johan just went for basically a gap that wasn't there.
Well, that's the thing, is like he wasn't necessarily entitled to the line, was he? Because I mean, look at how late he tries to make the dive on that second Porsche here. Gonna take a look at this on board. I mean, yeah, he should have just waited. I know how badly he's trying to fight for that spot, but he honestly should have waited. Now he's caught more lap traffic right in the middle of Maggots and Beckett, so this is really bad here for Johan Hart and Valentin Mendernash, as a matter of fact. Mendernash has got to get around both of them. it's really just a traffic jam. P3 has driven both of these guys into the meantime. Julian Sonnen running a pretty much identical paint scheme to Mandanesh as well, just diving up the inside. So potential 3-car fight for the LMP2 race lead here now.
Yep, absolutely. And that incident has allowed the top 3 to just all close up again. And yeah, Jeremy Bootloop is not too far behind as well. So if any of these top 3 keep scrapping amongst themselves, or if there's any other incidents that take place, he could be there to possibly gain the place, or gain a few places, sorry.
We said you were in for a treat tonight when we said there were some big names running in tonight's race, and this has certainly been a treat to watch so far. We are almost halfway now through this race. Medvedev should know that him and Sonnen, they are teammates. That is, of course, an explanation for the identical paint schemes, and of course that means that there could be potential team orders here for Sonnen to maybe stay behind. It could go either way. Either Mandanesh tells Sonnen to maybe stay behind and let him have another go at Hearth, or Mandanesh slows up a little bit, lets Sonnen through, and then tells him, all right, I can't get by him. Maybe you have a go at it.
Yeah, I was thinking that exact same thing. Do you let your teammate go and try and have a go of getting by Hearth, or do you just stay in line for the moment and just see how it goes, or maybe just wait until after the pit stops? But I think to have a good shot of getting by Hearth, I think you switch places.
Well, they got to make sure they don't wait for too long, because if they wait too long to the point that after the swap they've lost the draft, and it's all over for the two of them. Mark Fletcher still doing a good job hanging on. Ryan Norbert still has not found a way past in the GTD fight for the race lead. The battle for the GTLM race lead, by the way, has really died off. It has not gone anywhere, so that's why we haven't checked up on them in a little while. So Mark Fletcher still trying to find some way to make sure that he can keep Norbert behind and potentially maybe have a little go at him here as well. So Norbert's trying to do everything he can to find a way through. Fletcher's got to try to do everything he can to keep him behind. It's a very interesting dynamic we got going on here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think considering the mayhem at the start, and these two guys took advantage of that to pull away. Mark Fletcher's doing a good job of holding on to that lead, and I think this battle for the lead in GTD, and the possible one as well, could be sorted in the pit stops.
It very much could be. I mean, the pit stops really are everything, aren't they, when it comes down to how these battles can play out. 11th place, by the way, in GTD is down to the pits, so we do have a couple cars now seeming to be coming down. So the pit window is technically open. They do have to make one pit stop in this race to make it to the end because of the fuel restrictions that are being placed on these cars. I don't think we usually see the pit window open at around the 20-minute mark, and all the way to about 15 minutes to go. That's usually when we see a majority of drivers coming down to the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you might see the leaders trying to go as long as possible, or if either the top 3 in LMP2, for example, you might see second or third place dive into the pits at the same time, just to try and maybe get an undercut. Johan Hearth has contact. Sorry, with a GTD car. Oh, that was so close.
Johan Hart's scary moments seemingly aren't over yet. It was a Mercedes that nearly ran into a Valentin Pai, actually, that nearly ran him over. The 8th place driver in the GTD category. Taking a look at the replay now. This was just on the exit of Maggots and Beckus this is going to happen on. So watch this here, out of the chapel corner. Hart is going to go around the right side of the racetrack, and the Mercedes, unsighted, going to nearly run him off the track. It does actually run him onto the grass in the process.
Sacre bleu, that was that's the only reaction I could use to that. But Johan Hart was pushing his luck, and I'm amazed he's not had any other major issues, but he's doing just enough just to keep out of trouble.
Multiple drivers are on pit road, and most of them are from the GTD category, which is nothing unusual. We see this very commonly, actually. So you got 9th place. Luca Bincoletto is down to pit road right now. Valentin Pai, the Mercedes, was just caught up with Johan Hart. He's down to pit road as well. Right now, those are the only 2 Mercedes that are down to the lane at the moment. Battle for GTLM. We haven't checked in on them in a little while. That's reeled down as well, big time in the past couple laps or so. Gianni Vecchio now just under half a second away from Yuri Kessler.
Yep, and Kelstorp's built up a little bit of a breather, but not too much, and Gianni's just doing a good job to keep with him. As just looking at the lap time comparisons, And Gianni seems to be that, as he runs wide ever so slightly and just loses a little bit of time to Yuri.
Yeah, just a little bit of time lost, but I mean, that's all it can take to really end a battle, because for all you know, that could unsettle your rhythm for the next 3 corners. I mean, Silverstone is such a rhythm-dependent track that if you mess up one corner, you're going to compromise just about the entire sector ahead of you. It is so crucial to get these to get the corners right here, especially in the final sector here with the Maggots and Beckett's. It is just absolutely critical, beyond belief, that you need to get these corners absolutely perfectly if you want to go for the run of the position. And unfortunately, fortunately for Yuri Kazar, unfortunately for Vecchio just hasn't been able to really get that done the past couple laps. Meanwhile, looks like we got some more GTD traffic coming down to the pit lane. A couple more Mercedes. Antonio Titus is down. I believe I saw Gail Valero also down as well in the midst of all this. Meanwhile, your GTD battle for the race lead, he's still staying out, and now in the midst of LMP2 traffic.
Yep, and some people are deciding to pit now, and the other people are deciding to stay out and maybe just run the tank dry. But at the moment, it's still Harf and P2 leading, with Castort leading GTLM and GTD led by Fletcher, and all really still really close at the moment.
Once again, these two drivers are doing a good job. They've been doing a fantastic job, by the way, of just keeping it out of each other really all race long. This has just been an absolutely great fight to watch between the two of these. I mean, Norbert has tried everything he can to try to find a way through, but he never get close enough to really close it up. And Mark Fletcher just does such a good job of pinning that bottom line to the point where Norbert just cannot get the nose in there no matter what he does until it's too late. It's just been some phenomenal driving from both of them here to make sure this battle's been going on as long as it has. It's been going on for almost half an hour now. Yeah,
absolutely. And fair play to Norbert as well. There's been times that it looks like he's been frustrated, but he's not done anything silly. He's not tried to dive bomb up the inside.
Hang on. Antonio Titus has just had a big spin, actually. One of the drivers that just pitted a lap ago, he's just gone off. And potential contact with the LMP2 car, actually, that was actually up at Brooklands that this happened on. He might have actually been dumped by Casey Kerwin, another driver that was fresh out of the pits.
Yeah, just about to look at the replay now, and it's Titus comes out the pits and he gets up to speed again, and he's all seems to be fine on the pit entry. And after that, I think you could be right, Nolan. I think it could be contact from a LMP2 car and riding on board with Casey Kerwin. And please don't say Kerwin's just tried to lunge it.
Oh, he has. Yeah, that's exactly what happened to Johan Hart earlier when he dumped one of the Porsche GTLMs. I mean, it's almost a carbon copy of what happened, actually, except this one was just in a different corner. But that sent Titus spinning wide and actually backed it pretty hard into the inside barrier. So, disastrous for him. Jeremy Boudeleau is down a pit lane, as well as a big gaggle of LMP2 cars are down as well. So, the window is very much open. We'll be seeing the last cars coming down a pit lane shortly. GTD, Mark Fletcher is down to the pit road as the 16 machine is off and away. Ray and Norbert, meanwhile, stayed out.
Yeah, just looking at Mark Fletcher coming out the pits now, and he's I'll be interested to see as a P2 car just about throws it up the inside, and luckily Fletcher saw him coming.
This is actually really bad for Mark Fletcher because Ryan Norbert is in completely clean air right now. He has no traffic to worry about whatsoever. So Mark Fletcher might have timed this completely wrong. We could see a leapfrog for the GTD race lead in the pits here if Mark Fletcher has held up much more than this. These two are right on each other, and now Ryan Norbert can just push as hard as he can, snaps the back end, loose though as he jumped over the anti-cut curbs through Maggots.
Yeah, Norbert might have got a slow. It's like the overall race leader is in the pitch, Johan Harth.
Johan Harth down the pit lane, so is Julian Sonnen down? Julian Sonnen is down so another battle to be decided in the pit stops as Julian Sonnen comes down to the lane. Johan Harth is down as well. Martinash, meanwhile, is still out. He already pitted a little while ago, so Martinash is just trying to run these guys back down. He's now just coming through Stowe. Johan Harth, meanwhile, has just stopped in his box.
Yep, I think this is going to be kind of close. I think as Mandanac is coming into the final few corners, and I'm just keeping an eye on Johan Harth as well. This is going to be so close, and Johan Harth is moving out of the box. He's on the pit exit, and this is going to be super close. But I think Johan Harth is just going to get it.
Mananesh is just into turn 1. There's Julian Sonnen coming down, so it's a swap for the teammates. Julian Sonnen drops back as Mananesh takes up the second position, but does not manage to beat out Johan Hart. Meanwhile, Rand Norbert is down the pit lane, and Mark Fletcher is now just coming through the final corner. So this will be close between the two of them as well here. Rand Norbert is just exiting the pits now. This will be close for the GTD battle for the race lead. Fletcher is through turn 1, and Norbert off and away with quite the gap.
Yeah, Norbert managed to jump Mark Fletcher, and I was so unfortunate for Mark Fletcher. He got held up by traffic, and he lost about probably a second, even 2 seconds possibly, and just that traffic and LMP2 traffic that was lapping him was costing him big time. But he's not too far behind.
That is a potentially costing. That might have just cost Mark Fletcher the entire race win. He's only got 13 minutes to run down Rand Norbert. Now, here's the big thing. Mark Fletcher is really good in the fast corners and the straightaways where the draft really matters. Rand Norbert is not. So we could see this battle shape it up again towards the end. But for now, let's take a look back at GTLM between Yuri Kastorp and Gianni Vecchio, which is still hotting up.
Yeah, these guys have been at it from the start, and I think pit stops is going to decide this battle. I think it'll be who can get the quickest pit stop, and I think with Kastorp being up front, I think that could be his advantage. But I think we know how good Gianni is, especially being with a team like Team Redline, and I think he might have someone spotting for him and doing the fuel calculations.
It wouldn't surprise me, certainly. I mean, a team like Team Redline usually do have those types of people in these types of racings doing this. So, Gianni Vecchio trying to run down Yuri Kastorp. This is going to be very, very crucial here. This could be this is really the closest these two drivers have really been all race long. They've got a lot of GTD traffic just ahead of them, though. And here we go. Is Gianni Vecchio just breaking the draft there? That's a bit interesting there from Vecchio.
Yeah, maybe just showing that he's there, but he's not going to do anything silly. And apparently they've already stopped. So, yep, that's pretty much a sprint to the finish from here. And I think Gianni is maybe just wait. Oh, as he gets a little bit closer, and that was too close for comfort.
Look, he's pretty much bump drafting him out to the final corner now. This is going to be really tight down into turn 1. If Vecchio decides to make the move, doesn't go around and Kastorp into turn 1, just doesn't have the space. Vecchio runs it wide at the corner, thankfully does not get that slowdown. Now, the dive bomb into Village. Vecchio goes through around the Mercedes, so these two drivers, despite all this lap traffic, still staying nice and close. Vecchio trying to cut back, but Yuri Kastorp still has the drop on him on the exit.
Yep, absolutely, and it's been a few times on the previous lap. I thought it was going to end up in contact, but hey, amazingly, these guys have kept it clean. And as they go up the inside of a GTD car, and I think if I was Gianni, I would just maybe wait a bit and just plan the move, and maybe just see where you can take advantage and try and make a move.
Oh, forcing that Mercedes of Kyle Dunlop wide and onto the AstroTurf and actually the corner. That's what Yuri Kastorp just did. Now they're clear of the traffic zone. Gianni Vecchio is free to pounce all he likes. So this battle is, all of a sudden, this is the hottest thing on the track right now, is they're just now diving through the cops and in the run up to Maggots and Beckett's now. This could be crucial here. Vecchio cutting it in a lot tighter while Kastorp's trying to arc it in a little bit more. Look at how close they're getting on the brakes. Yuri Kastorp somehow managing not to back himself up into Gianni Vecchio's front bumper. This will be a drag race up here to Stowe.
Yeah, and Gianni's getting a lot closer in the slipstream now, but he can't go up the inside. And Yuri Kastorp just moves ever so slightly onto the racing line, and I thought he's going to try and chop Gianni off, but again, Kastorp to the inside and defends the inside line.
Here we go, side by side in the club. Can Vecchio get the move done? Not quite. Trying to make it work around the outside. That didn't work out for him too well. So he's still in behind at the exit of the chicane, but has not lost a lot of time, surprisingly, to Yuri Kastorp. I think he might have to wait until Brooklands, honestly, or at least to Village to get the move done here. So can Vecchio make the dive bomb here into turn number 3, off through 2? Will he make the look to the right? No, he won't, because he knows that's going to give him, that is going to give Kastorp the big draft all the way down the Wellington straight towards Brooklands. He might have a go here, though, into maybe about turn 7 or so.
It's quite possible. I mean, close, but I think as Castor goes to the inside line straight away to defend, and Yuri, if I was you, I would have kept to the inside, and nope, it looks like Gianni's not close enough to make a move.
Not close enough, but he is just right on the back end of him. I mean, if Castor makes one mistake, Vecchio is going to definitely get that race lead in GTLM. I mean, this is as close as these two guys have been all race long. It's all been in GTD and LMP2 so far in the battles for the race leads all day, but somehow this pit cycle has actually brought this race battle a heck of a lot closer. Just 0.2 of a second separated them, and for most of this last couple laps, less than that has separated the two Porsches.
Yeah, pretty much, and both of these guys are really quick drivers, racing for two big teams. And I think it's just that I think this battle is going to go right down to the last lap, but Gianni, he can't really do anything. I keep saying it, he can't make a move, and they've got a GTD car in front of them. That's second place from GTD, Mark Fletcher, and I think Castor will get by. I'm not sure if Gianni will get by as well as they both do. So yep, still close together.
Yeah, Mark Fletcher said that he was going to let both of them through at Stowe, so Mark Fletcher clearly not wanting to really. He knows he's not in the fight anymore. His fight for the race lead is over with Ray and Norbert, so he figured, I'm just going to let these two guys through, and I'm just going to let them duke it out. No point in really holding them up if I'm not fighting for anything right now. Now it's the question of, will Ray and Norbert be as generous as his co-GTD driver? So Castor up the inside in the turn 1. Will Vecchio try to follow? He is going to try to follow round the long way through turn 2 down to 3. That split the battle up quite a bit there.
Yep, and that's gave Castor just a little bit of breathing space, but again, Gianni closes right up under braking, and Vecchio gets sideways.
Just a little bit sideways and cuts off Ray and Norbert at the turn 6 as well of Aintree. Oh, that little mistake from Gianni Vecchio, that might have again cost him a race win. What happened there was he tried to turn in a bit too aggressively, lost it back under the brake, and it had to turn out at the corner, and couldn't get on the power either because the back wheels were still spinning around. So taking a look now at the replay, what happened to Gianni Vecchio, watch this back end step out here, not through this corner. It's going to be in the loop, the very next corner when he cuts back. Right about right here, you see that car back is sliding around. Look at it, he's actually counter steering into the corner right now. Has to turn right to avoid spinning the car all the way around.
Yeah, he done a good job to save that, and again, but on the other hand, that's allowed Yuri Castor a little bit more breathing space this time, and just pretty much Yuri just needs to keep it clean and get it round with 6 minutes and 35 seconds remaining.
And it does look like that's going to pretty much be the end of that big battle in the GTLM. It's a bit of a shame it had to end the way it did. We were definitely hoping for some side-by-side door-banging action. We almost saw it, actually, in the midst of that big fight. This is now the closest fight on track. Third place in LMP2 between Julian Sonnen and Ilkka Hapola. And right now, Hapola is being held up by some GTLM Travi. He's just gotten through at the moment. This has been one heck of a thrilling race. I mean, I said at the top of the broadcast, Ryan, that Silverstone time after time again provides thrilling racing. I mean, this has certainly been one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably one of the best races of the season, and there's been great battles in P2, LP2, sorry, GTLM and GTD, and yep, it's some incidents as well to throw into the mix, and I think I really enjoyed it.
That start was certainly something as well. I think that's probably about the biggest start pileup we've ever seen in the season so far. I mean, certainly we got one more race at Imola coming up here where there's certainly potential for another one. But after a bit of a messy start, this has still been one phenomenal race so far. In the midst of this one, Matthew Stagg and Kyle Dunlop GTD are also close. Now, by now, this is now Audi versus Mercedes here. In that GTD category. Remember, there's only 2 cars in the GTD field. While there's a lot of them on iRacing, you got the McLaren, Ferrari, stuff like that. You only have the Mercedes AMG and the Audi RS3. Sorry, not the Audi RS3. That's a touring car. The Audi R8. There we go. For the GTD category here in IMSA. So it's a bit of an interesting car choice. Certainly, Audis definitely usually seem to be the car preference. Typically, it's been said that Mercedes are more stable, but Audis are generally faster in the long run. Second place is close, and this is between the two teams with less than 5 minutes to go.
Yep, yeah, they've been pretty close after the pit stops, and I wonder if the team orders that they maybe had in place before the pit stops is basically out the window now, and they've basically decided that let's say have at it.
I mean, oh my word, that was awfully close between the two of them, getting around some of the lap traffic behind them. I mean, talk about dicey. I mean, these two guys are just showing no mercy to the lap traffic, just trying to get through as quickly as they can, it would seem. Now, there's no way. I think at this point they are just trying to fight against each other, or at least in Solom's case, he's going to be having to fight against Hapola here in just a second here. Because Johan Hart has pulled a gap of over 4 seconds at this point. Over 5 seconds, actually, last time by the line. So there's no way they're going to catch him. It's just between them now.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I'm very surprised that Jeremy Bootlick's not up there. He wasn't up there challenging for the win. He's pretty much quick in anything that he jumps into. But unfortunately, he's just down there in P5 and pretty much all by himself.
Gotta remember as well that the road cars that he drives so well in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars and the Porsche Esports Super Cup. So I'm not sure how often he drives in these Dallara P217s, but I mean, definitely it would seem that he has just been completely outmatched today. Like other drivers, like Johan Hart. I mean, Johan Hart is one of those drivers that is just, he's just so experienced in other disciplines. I mean, he can go and race a prototype and then go over and probably win a race over in the rallycross discipline at the same time. So I mean, talk about a jack of all trades there. Yeah,
absolutely. As looking at Hart now, and he's pretty much all by himself as well. He's got his race under control, and with a couple of minutes remaining in this race, he's got about a 5.4 second lead. They actually make that 6 seconds now. So yep, Johan Hart pretty much in command as it stands.
Very much command indeed. Nothing standing between him and victory, apart from obviously a couple of lap cars. Hopefully they don't get in the way too much. Under 2 minutes to go, and he is now coming up to take the 2 laps to go as well. He's not going to make it around, so we have a confirmed 2 to go this time for Johan Hart, provided he does not make any major mistakes. It's either going to be 2 or 1 to go. If he makes a massive mistake, and so does everybody behind him, obviously we might see the white flag then on the next lap. But for now, 2 laps to go for the LMP2 race leaders. Yuri Kasdorp and Gianni Vecchio still not really close. I mean, Vecchio's closing a little bit, but when he lost 1.2 seconds that last lap, or those laps when he had that big spin, just hasn't been able to claw back as much as he needed.
Yeah, Gianni's... Oh, is it? Mark Fletcher's off in GTD.
Oh, is he? Oh, he is. Mark Fletcher off in the GTD category. Where is this right now on the racetrack? He's way up into the sand by the emergency vehicles there. Is that over in Maggots and Beckett's? I think that is. Coming back on right in front of a GTD machine. Meanwhile, the battle for 5th is on fiercely in LB2. We'll take a look at this, and then we should cut back to there. So replay is on from Mark Fletcher, that was the battle for 5th. Oh, I think he had just a bit of an off-all on his own, slid way off and dinged the barriers. Wow.
I was looking at the replay, and it looks like he might have just got scared off by an LMP2 car that was coming up to lap him and just threw it up the inside, and unfortunately Mark Fletcher just got slightly unsettled, which is unfortunate because he was having a great run up at the front in 2nd place with basically 45 seconds on the clock remaining, and that was unfortunate. He just got unsettled.
Now, the battle that he got scared by was actually for 5th place between Jeremy Boudeleau and Marcus Deck, which is extremely close. And now Marcus Deck is actually trying to have a run at him into Stowe right now. So this is a very, very intense fight right now for 5th place in LB2. Deck has just got the pass done on Jeremy Boudeleau. Now Boudeleau's trying to go back at him here into the club chicane. So this is the close these two drivers have been all race long. Boudeleau is trying whatever he can. It looks like Deck's through, though. We're on the last lap now. And Marcus Deck, he's got to hang on for just one more lap because Jeremy Boudeleau, or it might be over for him.
Yep, absolutely. And Marcus Deck in fifth place now, and Jeremy Boudeleau, unfortunately, down to 6th position. But yeah, he's on the final lap now, and yeah, that was unfortunate. Jeremy Boudeleau, it looks like the battle for P2 is closing up as well.
And it's passed. That might have been team orders there. Mandanash just let through Julian Sonnen. Sonnen was up the inside, and Mandanash just let off the throttle for him, so that's a bit of an interesting call there from the team. Ikla Hapala now in 4th place is trying to have a go at 3rd place of Madden. So it's all kicking off in LB2, it would seem, on the last lap of the race here with the 16 machine and the 8 both going at it. Now they're just stuck around Gianni Vecchio in GTLM. What is going on here in LB2 on the last lap of the race here at Silverstone? Madden that's trying to fight off whatever he can, trying to protect his teammate Sonnen just up the road here.
Yep, absolutely. As Johan Harf is coming up to the final few corners now to, take the win in this race. And, Nolan, I'll hand it over to you.
Johan Hart through still for the final time today. Now down the Vale Hill once more. The little kink in the road. Down to the club chicane. It's been a dominant performance today from Johan Hart. Lost the lead because of a slow penalty. Gained it back in mighty quick fashion. And he's going to take victory. The Frenchman is once more in victory lane here at Silverstone. Just like he said he wanted to do at Le Mans 2 weeks ago. It's going to be Sonnen to pick up 2nd. Martinesh manages to hang on for 3rd position. Hapala almost spins him after the line. And Martinesh does spin across the line. Somehow hangs on to 3rd still. And it is going to be Marcus Deck to pick up the 5th position. As something has happened to the 6th position of Jeremy Bodolo, who is way down the order. He's going to finish the line just outside the top 10. Yuri Kastorp has won it in GTLM as well. Oh my word. And in GTD, Ryan Norbert right now is just about to cross the line here off of the final corner.
Yep, and what a crazy race. But I feel so sorry for Mark Fletcher after having a great run 2nd and in the closing stages in the last couple of minutes. He just gets tagged.
Wow, that was unfortunate there. And actually, Bodolo actually got turned in the battle for 7th, actually, believe it or not, in the midst of in the final in a couple of corners as well. As we take a look now what happened to Jeremy Bodolo. This was up in Stowe that this happened on. So remember, he lost the 6th position and he was falling back rapidly. So watch the 7th place car close up behind him. Bodolo, I think, is trying to save fuel because he's pretty much out. He must be running out of fumes. Watch this late dive, though. That is just silly.
Yeah, that was just a silly move, and I think Bootle was on the cusp of running out of fuel and just had to lift and coaster basically safe to make it round. As they look at the replay again, and they coming through Magazine Beckett's, and it looks all fine here. And I think he was just he was lifting a little bit or slowing down to save fuel.
Oh, slow down! There it is. That tells the story. Watch this 7th place car screaming up behind him. Should have gone around the outside. Didn't go around the outside. Tried to dive to the inside. I mean, come on. That was never gonna work.
GTLM Porsche tried to avoid the bootlet as well, and bootlet pulls back onto the track, and that was just unfortunate and a bit of a silly move.
So let's take a look now at the post-race results at the end of a 45-minute race. A thrilling one at that, especially in the last 15 minutes. Johan Hart takes victory 8 seconds over Julian Sonnen. Bandanesh spun across the line, just barely fending off Hapala in the battle for the final podium position. Marcus Deck finishes off in 5th. Andre Carrera Martins in 6th. Efkan Breyer in 7th. Casey Kerwin in the 8th position. Pierre Verne in 9th. Jeremy Bodolo falls from 6th to 10th. In just a span of 1 lap, and that happened to be the last one, excuse me. Daniel Kraft and Jake Fennerman in 11th and 12th. Yuri Kasdorp, meanwhile, in GTLM, takes the victory for their class. Gianni Vecchio, after a valiant effort, finishes off in 2nd. Patrick Heinrich in 3rd. Alexei Nesov in 4th. Quintian Violette in 5th. Joop de Licht in 6th. Artem Grabau in 7th. Bruno Fontalba in 8th. Tommy Accioli in 9th, Victor Valesso in 10th, Laurent Miskiewicz in the 11th position, Nathan Parkinson in 12th. He didn't set a qualifying lap, but he did manage to move up 2 places in that race. Tristan Iglesias, meanwhile, in 13th, still in the lead lap in their class, and Spencer Kostowitz not finishing the race down to the 14th position. At GTD, it is Ray and Norbert to take victory, 12.4 seconds over Matthew Stagg. Kyle Dunlop picks up 3rd place over Blake Neck. Mark Fletcher rounds in the top 5. Antonin Titus in 6th. Braden Warner in 7th. Luca Vincoletto in 8th. Nicholas Pigner in 9th. And João Valero in the 10th position. Valentin Pie and Jeremy Granger rounding out the 12 car field. Granger, unfortunately having some major difficulties at the start of the race, didn't even make it past lap number 1. A thrilling race then at Silverstone, and still want to go at Imola next week.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, great race tonight at Silverstone, and I think Imola next week should be an even better one with how tight the track is. And yeah, 3 classes around that track. That's going to make for a great finale.
Absolutely will. It's going to make for an absolutely fantastic finale to the IMSA Sportscar Championship in the final season of 2020. The full layout, I said I might try to pronounce it this week. I'm going to get it this week. The Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Idino Ferrari is definitely one of those tracks that you gotta admire it. I mean, it's one of the most famous racetracks in the world. It's one of the most historic racetracks in the world. Whether that comes from some unfortunate moments that happened back in the 90s, as we all know what happened then, or whether it comes from more modern feats. For example, what happened here in 2020 in the same open wheel series that I believe we all know and love. It's just a track that just keeps coming back into the hearts of many, it would seem.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks that's got great tradition and a history of hosting different series. And yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks for multi-class racing, and I think next week is going to be a great one to watch, and like I say, a great way to round out the season. And I think if anything tonight is to go by, I think we're in for an absolutely great race.
I'm a bit surprised actually, because lap traffic played a bigger role in tonight's race than it ever did. I mean, all the battles that we had were a result of lap traffic. I mean, the GTD battle was solved with the swap in the pit lane because Mark Fletcher, when he came out, was caught up by lap traffic. Johan Harth, he ended up getting caught up by some lap traffic just after he got a slowed up on it. That prevented him from getting back Madanesh sooner in the race. Yuri Kazar and Gianni Vecchio, they were caught up trying to get around some lap traffic as well, and that I think might have caught up Vecchio in their attempt. You saw LB2 cars punting off GT cars. That was kind of the big story tonight. I mean, they punted each other off, they punted the GT cars off. Usually it's kind of the other way around. So I think lap traffic played a much bigger role in tonight's race than either of us were expecting going into it.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be by some incidents, but I never expected to be by as chaotic as it was tonight. And yeah, there was incidents, but overall there was some great battles as well in all 3 classes. And like I said before, it was just unfortunate. Some people like Mark Fletcher got tagged off or kind of like scared off the track after having a great run, but it's just the nature of multi-class racing. It's sometimes you can have a good race and sometimes you can have a bad race.
I think when we go into Imola as well, we're hoping that we don't quite have such a thrilling, I guess thrilling is one word for it, exciting start of the race, particularly in the GTD category. Those that have been with us for the entirety of the 45 minutes will remember that very interesting incident. Definitely the biggest pileup we've had so far in the season. It was like probably about 8-9 cars overall that were caught up in that in total. That split the entire GTD field up for really a majority of the race, whereas all the other fields stayed nice and close to each other. So I think we're hoping that doesn't quite happen at Imola. I think that might just be a Silverstone thing, because it's just such a tricky final set of corners, especially when you're trying to get up to speed, go side by side, and then running down to the green flag. I mean, it was bound to happen somewhere eventually, I guess.
Yeah, it's just the nature of Silverstone, especially with loads of cars on track. Sometimes you'll just get a bit of a bottleneck effect, and unfortunately we found that out, or we've seen that in the GTD. Just the whole class getting bunched up, and unfortunately Mark Fletcher and Matthew Stagg, I believe it was, just had a little bit of a coming together. But apart from that, the racing was good, and we still had a great battle in every class nevertheless.
Especially a good run for Johan Harth. Remember, he's not one of those drivers that really races on a weekly basis here in this series. And I mean, Johan Harth, he said at Le Mans, where he won that one at his home track, said that he was wanting to come over here and win at Silverstone as well. He said he was going to take a break for Indianapolis, but he would definitely be back for Silverstone and try to win it. Well, he certainly did that, and in a dramatic fashion as well. We almost thought he was in trouble when he went off and Valentin Madanesh took the lead. So good on him to manage to take that back.
Yep, absolutely. And it was a great battle between Johan and Madanesh as well. And but Johan Harth, being the driver that he is, and really good driver now racing that he is, came out on top.
And well, I think with that is about all the time we are going to have for one day. The Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Gino Ferrari, aka Imola, as it's so much easier to say, is going to be coming up next week. The only race in December the 4th. Final race of the IMSA Online Sports Car Championship. I've been Ola Rempel, bringing you coverage of this race from start to finish. Ryan Walker beside me in the commentary box with VCO nominated Connor Amatic behind the cameras for today in the producer's chair. Special thanks as well to It's Von Below at InTrackCameras22.com for the fantastic cameras we were seeing all throughout the race tonight. And thank you all for joining us here tonight on tonight's presentation of Friday Night Prime Time here on RaceSpotTV. Happy Thanksgiving to the Americans, and we will see you all next week.